testing before the race tomorrow. Got the red, white, and blue shootout or something happening tomorrow. We're gonna do a little, just have a little bit of fun today, basically. Actually, Hayden's here too. He's gonna do some testing on his. Bueno. What's up, buddy? Got Randy here as well, taking the heap out for some passes. We got Hayden and Carlos in here. I'm pretty sure there was some roadhead going on the way down, allegedly. Yeah, he's gonna see what he can do. What are you doing, bro?
What at? No clue.
Gotta fill it up with the secret come and go fuel. Only the finest for Liam. Good old E, maybe 60.
Watch your little Jeep, it's got a little attitude here.
Yeah, Tony's gonna make the first pass. We got it almost all the way on pill. She's still got a little bit of RPM to go. Oh, I just filled it up.
Jeez.
I'm new. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I think we're pretty much ready to go, and we'll do the usual thing, hopefully. And hopefully she gets her goal time. It's fast enough to where we're not allowed to say what time it is anymore. Alright, cool. Wipe it down and good to go. We are getting right into it. She's gonna make her first pass. It's 100 RPM higher than she's done before. Everything else is the same. I think she'll get her best on the first pass. So I gotta turn that bump down, but the pass is good. So that was good. So it's actually really hard with the buttons that we have on the steering wheel. It's really hard to press it as fast as we used to. We used to just like hit it with our hand. And so it was easy to do just a real quick push of the button. This one, now that you have to press it, it's a little bit harder to be fast with it. So she mashed it pretty good, and I saw multiple bumps happen, and she ended up deep staging. So we're gonna have to change the bump settings to make sure that that doesn't happen. Won't be a big deal. We'll test that in the pits and should be good to go. Curious to see what she ran though. It looked like a pretty strong pass.
Did I stay on it long enough?
Yeah, you were on it long enough, plenty. Because it was a full tree. You would have been fine even if it was a road tree.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're gonna find out what it's gonna do. That's probably the only reason why it left as good as it did, because you might not have had full throttle.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't actively thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, we'll test the bump in the pit, and then we'll do the same pass.
Okay.
See what it does. But yeah, I gotta get that bump more predictable. And that was rough. I saw, like, you could see it in the video. It was like three, like, I was like, oh, god damn it. You can't go fast enough. Especially not with your weird thumbs.
Shut up. I don't have weird thumbs.
That shit's weird.
I'm like super shaky all the time too. So
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easy.
No, I was afraid of that happening, but I wanted to see how it went first.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way to do it is like...
When you do the video games, you're like...
Yeah.
It's not as easy as like the right.
But when you're gripping it too.
Nah.
Yeah, right? No, when you think about it, try going that fast like with the bumpers.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you get lost? Yeah, was I supposed to stop here? No.
Yeah, well, yeah, normally you're supposed to stop there, but what took you so long?
Oh, I was
Go get some ice cream?
the GoPro and I had to go pee.
Oh, okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
that explains it.
This mint interior, so nice.
Actually, it looks pretty nice.
Don't look at that. There we go. That's real nice.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
Good shakedown. So I guess we went as long as we could without getting licensing. So they gave me some paperwork so that we could get Tanya her license.
Why do I have to get my license?
Because you're driving. But yeah, they're gonna let us make our passes today. So problem is we want to make a bunch of full hits, but we have to make like 4 partials before we're actually able to do a full one. Even though they've seen us do them tons of times, we have to do it for the licensing. So yeah, might as well get them going because I don't know what they're gonna do if we don't. So might as well get it done. So I made a change in the calibration to make it be a slower bump. So it's still a short pulse. So she's probably gonna have to push it multiple times, but that's what we kind of want. If you only need to move forward a little bit, you can. If you need to move forward a lot, you can press it multiple times or hold it down. So I think it's gonna be a lot better now. I tested it out, it should be good. And she's gonna do her licensing pass now. So these first couple are gonna be partial passes. So we probably won't even do video of them. We'll wait until she gets back to the full passes. We're gonna try to knock them out quick. She's doing her licensing passes. Does she need to do them on her own?
Yeah, by herself.
Ah, shit. Okay, I fucked this one up. All right, we'll start on the next one. All right, so that one was pretty much just to test the new bump settings. So we're good on that. We'll probably not even bump in anymore until we're done with the partial passes. And we'll get back to it on the full ones. Surprise! Oh wait, I just had to mess with him first. Oh my god, our dog is on some medication and he's a little out of it. I've never seen his bottom eyelid up so high. It looks so, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop messing with you. Last night, obviously, didn't continue. So right when we were starting to do our licensing passes, the weather came in really bad. And it didn't end up raining, but it was just really, really, really windy. And we waited it out for a couple hours and it was a no-go. So didn't get to do our licensing and didn't get to go for Tanya's best time. So pretty disappointed overall with that day, but we're back again today. We're heading down there right now for the, what is it, the red, white, and blue shootout or something, down at Pueblo Motorsports Park. So we're gonna go down there and race small tire, and some kind of big names are gonna be there. Scott Taylor's there, Mike Murillo's gonna be there, Amarillo Mike, maybe a couple other people too. I'm not sure who all came. But yeah, so we're gonna go try. I'm gonna be back in the car and we're gonna try to win as much as we can. I have no idea who's in the classes yet, so I'm anxious to see when we get there. They kept it secret, so nobody knows who's in what classes. I don't know if that was to motivate more people to come out or what, but yeah, hopefully there's a lot of people and hopefully we can make some good passes. All right, heading over to the driver's meeting. See what horrible cars I'm going to have to race in small tire. We got Lance here and Santini. There's some cars that could make 3 mistakes and I still wouldn't have enough to catch them. So that should be fun.
We'll call your class and pull chips after your test hits are done and figure out who you're taking lanes with. Everybody knows the rules of the class that they paid for at the gate though, right?
Yep.
That's a good one. So, 6 o'clock when we start test hits, right?
Right, 6 o'clock. So when we start calling classes then.
Which lanes are which? Did you already say how you go?
Yeah,
We did. But it was hard for everybody to hear it.
Jeez.
Yeah, no problem. Bob will send you a memo, okay? Fashionably late. You know what else I did? I left my phone at home.
Oh, Bob, what class are you in?
Big time.
Fifth tire, 7 and 8.
During testing, you can have somebody tell you that, obviously, but once we start, you got to make it back to the pits under your own power. Everybody knows that, right?
What if I throw a foul?
Right up. All right. Cool. Give you a right up.
Go, there you go.
I ruined your video. I'm sorry. If you lose subscribers, it's my fault.
Alright, so we got the first test pass out of the way. It went well. I was leaving at a softer RPM than we normally leave at, just to kind of get a feel for the track. It hooked it. I think it'll take a lot more. I think it'll actually take a decent amount of RPM. If we can really hit that rear end, then it should be pretty good. So I'm gonna launch it at the same boost target, but I'm gonna leave at probably 200 RPM more, which is quite a bit. No, I'm gonna do 2. Don't call me on it. So we'll do 200 RPM on this one to see if it'll even do it. If it overshoots it, then I know all I've got to do is go back down 100, and we should be. I know it'll hook 100. I want to see if it'll hook 2. Good old Jim. So yeah, that's the plan. Same boost, much higher RPM. See if it'll take it. If it does, it should run a great time. If it doesn't, I know it'll probably do a pretty good time on only 100 RPM up. So we'll try that out and see what it does. I gotta check over everything, check the tires, check launch control, or check the log to make sure it was making what it was supposed to on the launch control, and then we should be good to go. Isn't normal, but I might have just been lined up that way. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying too much attention. I'm not used to it really turning, but it came down in time enough for me to be able to steer it.
Technically, now that's your best time.
So did everybody get the joke?
Yeah, I got your joke. I was like, this motherfucker.
Dude, everybody's fucking doing it way past the line. I'm like,
wait, let me do. I don't think anybody else got it, but I was like, this motherfucker.
I was hoping everybody got it. I'm like, god damn it, he went past the line. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do that shit too. So it was good. It went a little bit right in the wheelie though, which
yeah, it's been going right since last night.
Yeah. I've never done that before on 2 wheels though, so I don't know. We'll have to take a look at the suspension afterward, but I'll just, because I don't think I was pointed right. We don't really have any way of checking, unfortunately, so. Where were you in the video? Like, were you off to the left?
Yeah, I was on your left-hand side.
Okay. I don't know, we can look at it and see if maybe it looked like I was a little crooked, but I mean, it came down with enough time to steer. That was good. I'm gonna stay in it.
Yeah, it looked fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 1, step forward.
All right.
Sheriff's free.
I don't know.
Yeah, Jerry.
Whoa.
You got left. Yeah, that's
Wait, Who's that left then?
Me and you.
Oh shit! God damn it!
Come on, boys.
Son of a bitch!
Look, see, that's what you get.
We made an agreement beforehand. If I draw him, I get the hit. That's what I heard.
And the lead.
Yeah, yeah.
So you guys got
And back tire.
Yeah, back tire. All right. So we got Leroy in the first one. We're in the right lane. All right. Leroy's gonna take it easy on me.
Yes, I am.
There you go. Which is not saying much, I guess. Still a lot to cover.
I'm not turning it up. I ain't doing nothing to it. Love.
That's the problem, because it's doing good. Try turning it up.
Hey.
Just a little bit.
No. You can take Jim for that, because Jim's the one who tuned it. So.
Damn it. Tell
You got
Jim.
anyone to blame?
Jim, put some more in it. All right, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Same kind of situation as I figured we were going to be in, where we're going to race somebody that we have to like, you know, they got to make a couple of mistakes for us to be able to be competitive, but we'll see. I mean, should make a good pass, so never know what's going to happen. See how the track surface is. But now we know neither of us can draw a very good first round.
I just think you don't know how to pick a class.
But there weren't a whole lot of good options.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't know how to pick a class. It's the only class I fit into here that's
You could have done a
heads up.
10 index.
I know, I could have done index, but as far as heads up goes, it's the only one I fit into. Because it doesn't matter how street car you are, I
Get a
can't go in the
faster
street
truck.
class.
Get a faster truck.
That's true. You could just put a bigger turbo on it.
Yeah.
Time for a bigger turbo, or maybe some twins. I told him, I was like, you know, I mean, it's basically a test pass. You might as well turn it up. Just turn it all the way up. See what it'll take.
This thing will go 50, won't it?
No, not in a turbo. I think that pass out there was as good as it's going to get today. It'll only do like 7. Yeah. You'll be all right. Just act like.
You can edit that part, or you can leave it in. Fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Four 7.
Fucking eyeballs.
Put it in neutral and I'll push it.
Broke the yoke.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That's that sensor.
Where are we going?
Stage lane.
Yeah, just crank it that way and we'll back you up.
Yeah. Go ahead, keep cranking.
It's that damn dip.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one right there, buddy. Oh, drop shaft came off.
There we go.
Yeah, it's in the bed now, buddy.
Excellent.
Good luck tonight, buddy.
Thank you.
You want to go straight on the trailer, Derek?
No, we'll push that later. I don't want to interrupt everybody else. Alright, should be good here. We'll figure it out when we get it loaded.
Good job of pulling right off the track.
Yeah.
Right off. Good job not
Damn
trying to
good
go
job.
all the way down.
I know. I'm assuming that's the progression it did. That's the order everything went in. But yeah.
I got to watch it go up. I was like, oh yeah, I might want to go, but that was pretty.
I had to get a good trio.
I can tell you that because I seen it go up. I was like, yeah, legs.
Yeah, so
that obviously didn't go so well. The truck's been so incredibly consistent and durable. It honestly did surprise the living crap out of me that it broke. But I mean, it happens. I learned something new about it. The parts that actually broke, I'll show you here in a second. The welds on the axle tubes cracked. I'm thinking that one of them was actually already cracked before the other one went. I don't think they both went at the same time, because the truck was oddly going right for like 2 passes or maybe 3 passes or something like that. And I should have thought more of it. One, it went right when it spun, which is actually pretty common. But then the one that was really weird was the wheelie that it did for my first qualifying pass was right, but when it was on 2 wheels. So that should have been dead giveaway for me. Look at the suspension, see if there's anything going on.
Yeah, I've never done that before on 2 wheels though, so I don't know. We'll have to take a look at the suspension afterward, but.
And I didn't, so that's what I get. So what ended up happening was both of the welds on the axle tubes that go to the housing broke and allowed the pinion to continue to rise up. And then on its way up, obviously, it broke the yoke on the drive shaft. And that leftover looks like that. So all the way in the collar going inside, it just snapped it right off. Which unfortunately also bent the shaft, or bent the threaded area on the pinion that the nut actually goes onto to hold that on. I don't know, that kind of puts us in a weird spot, or not really a weird spot, it was a pretty common spot. Something broke, but it was really bad timing. So we really wanted to get the truck to Streetcar Takeover because they had a truck class and we thought we could do really well. And you know, it was probably some decent exposure if we did well out there. It breaking right before that on a race that we really didn't care much about is a little bit disappointing, but on the bright side, this thing's lasted for basically 3 years of absolute abuse, both in the winter and the summer. So all throughout each of those years. Probably have about 350 passes on that rear end. And probably, I'd say a little bit less than 10,000 miles of just street driving. So it's, we're not disappointed at all. That's for sure. I mean, it broke and I wasn't even slightly disappointed. I mean, I'm disappointed in the fact that it's putting us down and we're gonna have to, you know, get a new one, spend a little bit of money on getting back up, but not disappointed in the performance of that rear end. Jeff did an awesome job putting it together for us, and it did its job over and over and over again. So pretty happy about that. And that's why we're basically gonna do the same thing. So now knowing how much strain those the welds on the axle tubes actually, you know, get subjected to. I guess I didn't really understand that concept originally. I knew that obviously there was, you know, a decent amount of strain on that, but don't think I really grasped the concept fully. So now that we know that, the new rear end that we're gonna try to get, which I think have already sourced a new housing, because we're not gonna be able to reuse this one. We're gonna reuse as much as we can, you know, the brakes, the axles, as long as the axles are still good. Pinion is probably no good, so ring and pinion. We might make a gear change while we're at it. But yeah, we're gonna reuse the cover, just anything we can, we're gonna reuse. But the big difference that we are gonna do with this one is we're gonna put a lot more bracing. So the welds around those tubes, obviously, you know, there's a certain amount of heat that the tube wants to take. There's a certain amount of heat that the housing can take. The housing being a heck of a lot thicker and it being cast. We're gonna try to put a little bit more effort into making that weld there as strong as possible, as well as putting some extra bracing from the housing itself to the tubes. And hopefully this won't happen again. I don't think we're putting a crazy amount we're not exceeding the capability of this rear end. That wasn't on our maintenance list, I guess. That wasn't one of those things that I always checked because I didn't quite appreciate the amount of force that gets applied to it. Now we will. And hopefully we can catch, if another failure like that is about to happen, hopefully we can catch it beforehand and at least not destroy everything else. Because now we're at the point where we have to completely redo the rear end. So new housing, new pinion and ring gear and new drive shaft, or at least new drive shaft. No, yeah, actually whole new drive shaft, because the way it, you know, got tossed around in there, because I mean, it went all the way to the limiter. Once it let go on the rear end, you heard it really pop, heard the engine pop real loud. Because that was basically full load. I mean, because we leave, once I step out, it's pretty much full boost. So that was full boost and a lot of load, like everything hooking on its way out, and then no load at all. I mean, we're lucky we didn't hurt more stuff. The motor was still running fine all the way when I turned it off, but going from massive amount of load and full boost to no load and allowing the engine just to rev freely like that, it's hard enough on the motor, but the drive shaft was still attached to the transmission, and so it was just flopping around in there. And the loop that we have, the drive shaft just got beat up real bad in their area, so I wouldn't use it again. So we gotta get a new drive shaft for it, and that'll put us back in action. But yeah, let me show you the results of it. The rear end is not supposed to be angled up like that. So we have our 4-link brackets on those tubes, and that's applying the force that's, or transferring the force that's being applied to their rear end from the transmission and the motor. But it's supposed to resist spinning independently of the tubes. But when this weld and the same weld on the other side broke, it was not able to, so it just spun up. And you see this plug weld right here as well. That thing just got ripped out. And so some of the collateral damage, obviously we were talking about the drive shaft when it was bouncing around like that. Well, this bar is the bar that actually keeps the rear end center. And it got smacked by the drive shaft pretty good and bent that. That's not a huge deal, that's a pretty easy fix. So you can see that wobble. It's hard to see because my damn hand keeps moving, but that's kind of the damage. Doesn't look too bad, but I mean, there's a lot of things that are gonna have to be redone, and it's mostly time. Time is the biggest thing that I'm kind of pissed about. The amount of time that it's gonna take to get back up and running. Yeah, it sucks because it's more than a week and I wanted to do Streetcar Takeover, so. And in case you guys are wondering why we're not just putting the Civic rear end that we have right here sitting ready to go, is because it's entirely too short, unfortunately. This has been cut down for the width of the Civic, and it turns out that's about 8 inches shorter. We can use some of the parts in here, but the other thing that sucks about this rear end compared to this one is it's meant to be on a 26. So the gearing in this one is like a 3.0. If I put a 3.0 with a 28 on there, the gearing is just gonna be way too high. It's not gonna be any good. So I've gotta get a new gear set for the truck. We do have some work to do. So I'm gonna continue to try to source the parts that we need and start taking this thing apart to figure out what parts we can still reuse. I'm hoping, really hoping that the axles are good. That's a big cost. That would be nice not to have to come out of pocket with right now. Yeah, we'll just keep going with it. We got shirts and stickers for sale on our website. Feel free to go take a look at that. Anything helps, that's for sure. We don't exactly want to go and ask for handouts or anything like that, but if we can sell you something, we will try to, so that it'll help us get back on our feet sooner. Yeah, anyway, until next time, just be sure to comment, let us know what you think. Let us know, you know, now that we have this opportunity to maybe make some changes to the rear end, what you guys think we should do. And yeah, also I'll put the link up one of these corners and for the shirts and stickers from our website. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next time. Appreciate it, thanks.